everybody. Today I'm going to do a little updated Disney planning video. I haven't done one of these in a while, and I thought it would be, informative to share some tips and tricks that we're learning along the way. We are a family of 6, and we are headed for our 3rd Disney trip this coming spring. Well, spring 2016. We also are hoping to go back for Christmas season 2016. So this had to kind of change our Disney plans a little bit. So our first trip we went because we wanted to be on a budget. So for our first trip it was about $3,800. We had a free dining promotion because we went in the fall. At that time they didn't make you upgrade your tickets, so we had a 5 or 6 day park ticket, and we had the table service dining plan that we upgraded to. And Ellie, our daughter, was free at the time, and Trevor was still considered a child, because if your children are under the age 9 and under, from 3 to 9, they are considered a child. Anything under 3, so 2 years and 11 months, is free to go to Disney. So that trip was very, very affordable. As you know, we had some issues. We actually got upgraded to Art of Animation, and we didn't have to pay anything for it, so that was really, really nice. Our second trip, and that trip was a Saturday to Saturday trip. Our second trip was from Saturday to Tuesday of the following week. So it was about 11 days. And for our first part of our trip, we stayed at Caribbean Beach, and we had the quick service dining plan. The next part of our trip, we stayed at Yacht Club. For the Caribbean Beach part, I actually got a PIN code, so we saved about 25 to 30% off of our room. Then a room discount came out, and we stayed at Yacht Club for 30% off our room rate, and then we had no dining plan. And then we moved to Port Orleans Riverside for a few days, and that also had a 20 to 20% room discount. That was just a regular code. We had park tickets. We had about 7 days, I think, maybe 8. We had quick service for the first part, and we did do the memory maker. That trip, if I remember correctly, was about $5,200. I'll write the exact amount down below here. But again, that was for a really long trip. At that time, Trevor was 10 years old, so we did have to pay a little bit more for him, but Ellie was free. We could also still stay at a moderate, which is Sleeps 5. So if you have that freebie, you can actually put 6 in that room. And the rooms are really cheap. Like a moderate room is like $175 during the spring for a room. Meanwhile, now we're looking at like Art of Animation, which is $360 a night. Pop is about $134 a night. And then deluxes are just out of the question because Ellie is now 3 and Trevor is now 10. So we're now in the predicament where we have to sleep 6 in a room by Disney standards. So we originally had booked Art of Animation Lion King, but we're starting to get, not nervous, but we don't want to strap ourselves on paying for a trip. Like, we want to be able to pay off our Disney vacation and not feel it in the bank account as much, if that makes any sense. So if we were staying at Art of Animation, we have to put aside about $650 more to stay there. And in the grand scheme of things, I think we figured out it's like $67 or something like that per night, which isn't a lot at all. But it adds up to, $650. And when you're talking about taking another trip 6 months after that trip, I mean, that's like half of a dining plan almost. That's tickets for a few days. That's a few nights stay. So we've been kind of tossing back and forth between maybe downgrading to All-Star Movies or Pop Century. If you know, we had a very rough Pop Century stay. However, we do feel that it was really a computer-based thing. I mean, there were some things about the resort that we didn't love, but it's like petty things, like they didn't have ice, or the silverware isn't silverware, it's plastic, and the rooms are definitely value. When you're staying at Art of Animation, even though it's value, it's more like a moderate to deluxe type room, and the grounds at Art of Animation are just beautiful. So we're in this spot where we need to decide what's important to us. Do we want to make 2 trips? Do we want to make those sacrifices, or do we want to go to Art of Animation? Another thing, the kids were really talking about, they wanted to do, you know, they wanted to do a character meal, they wanted to do T-Rex, they wanted to do, you know, I wanted to do a couple table services. So it was like, do we do the dining plan or not? But, you know, that's something that my husband really does enjoy, is the dining plan. He likes being able, my husband is an eater. My oldest son is an eater, and heck, now Aubrey and Casey have been eating a lot lately. So that was something that was kind of important to them, that they really wanted the dining plan. So we said, okay guys, you can't have the dining plan and do a couple table service options and do, you know, art of animation. We have to make some cuts somewhere. So we decided to shorten our trip. So we're really only going to go from a Saturday to a Sunday now. We are going to drive again because that saves a huge amount of money. We are unsure yet if we're going to downgrade from Art of Animation to Pop or All-Star Movies, but it's on our radar. Pop, we can still walk over and view the beautiful grounds at Art of Animation. We can still eat at Art of Animation's food court, which we probably would. We just wouldn't be sleeping in an Art of Animation room. So we have to decide if sleeping in an Art of Animation room, if that's worth it to us. We still have the same amount of square footage at Pop and the same amount of bathrooms because we're doing 2 rooms at Pop, if we decide to go that route. You know, Pop also has, you know, the single bus station. All-Star Movies has no discounts. You know, typically we're thinking there's going to be a room discount. All-Star Movies does not get those discounts. They don't have the best food court. They are sharing buses. So there's definitely some downsides to it. You know, if we stay at Art of Animation, we could totally not do the dining plan and have a microwave there and really save money that way. But it's all just stuff that we're just kind of thinking of. So for now, we're putting aside as much money as we can and just seeing where we go. You know, where we really want to make that trip, we really should cut costs, because I know that our April trip, where it's going to be a shorter trip, is going to be go, 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 go. We're going to constantly be in the parks. We're really going to only be in our rooms to take a nap, maybe a late night swim, and that's it. So we just need to figure out what we want to do. I am not excited about going to Pop. I don't like the resort. It's just meh. But it's like, if you're going there to just go to the parks and not really rest, then why not? So there's that big change. You know, we have kind of figured out our exact dates when we're going, stuff like that. The only thing that I'm worried about is there is a big YouTube conference, actually, the time when we're going there, which I'm not really looking forward to. As I watch videos, and I know a lot of people do go to Disney those days, and that's kind of frustrating, meaning that there's going to be like a lot more like crowds or even just teeny boppers looking for YouTubers probably. But in the grand scheme of things, I'll just probably stay away from Magic Kingdom that day because that's where most of them are going to go anyways. So there's that. And then some, you know, things that we're looking into. Every 2 weeks, our kids get allowance, and they get $10. So they have to put aside $5 into saving for something big. And right now, that saving for something big is going to be DisneyWorld. And the other $5 they can choose to spend, they can save, they can do whatever they want. They've kind of been doing, like, Trevor will typically give me maybe $1 more, sometimes $2. Aubrey has been giving me all of it, and just setting aside a lot of money. And in the end, I think they're going to have something like $150, you know, when all is said and done, which I think is really, really cool. And that's their spending money. I've been putting $5 in for Casey every week, and then giving him allowance every other time. So he's only getting $5 a month given to him, and he's getting $10 put into his Disney account, because he did need more money than $50 last time. $50 was not enough for him. Ellie, I'm doing every other, so she gets like $5 a month put into her Disney account, which is more than what she will need, because the beauty of Ellie is I can just go to, you know, Target or Walmart beforehand and then just give things to her. We've also been purchasing things here and there, and my hope is to give them a big bag of goodies as a Christmas present, some things that they'll need, you know, maybe a new autograph book, if they want some flip-flops, a bathing suit, towels, anything like that. I will also say that we are slowly buying things, and I've been focusing on a little thing each month. So, for instance, for the month of September, it's going to be all of our travel necessities. Face washes, body washes, shampoo, all those things we'll need, like that. Travel toothbrushes, all that stuff. And I've been finding things at a great discount and just putting them aside, or things that have come in my Ipsy bags or Pinch Me boxes or anything like that. I've just been putting aside into a baggie so that everything is not bought at full price and at a discount. I have tons of sunscreen already, and So that's my goal for September, is to get all that put together, ready to go. By October and November, I want all of our custom clothing to be purchased. I want it to all be done. And I want to buy myself a new pair of sandals, as well as all the kids if they need it. I need to see how their summer sandals look, and my goal is to buy them all a pair of flip-flops for the pool, for if we're going to downtown Disney or anything like that. When they do go to Disney, they will typically wear their school sneakers as their major shoe, a pair of flip-flops for the pool or whatever, and then we typically do Crocs because my kids like Crocs. Last time Trevor, I don't even think, wore his sneakers, but we just like to have them just in case it gets wet or something like that. So my goal is flip-flops, footwear, and custom clothing, you know, maybe Crocs if we need them. I think Aubrey's Crocs will be all set. I know Ellie's Crocs will be all set. So it just will be the boys pretty much. So that's on my radar, you know, where it's the end of the season, get those summer Crocs and flip-flops now where they're a bunch cheaper. So that's October and November will be footwear and clothing. December, we're going to take a break from anything that's Disney related, as we will be focusing on Christmas, and really November too. That's why I'm doing clothing through October and November. I have most of our custom clothing, but there will be that. And then in January, February, March, and April. January, we are going to start focusing on the trip down there. So I want to start setting aside money for gas, buying gift cards for fast food places. You know you're always going to see a McDonald's, Burger King, stuff like that along the way. Dunkin' Donuts. I know that we stopped for Dunkin' Donuts a lot. That was our breakfast in the mornings and things like that. So that's my goal for January, is to really get our food and gas money all set. February will finish up my food and gas money because it's about $400 to $600 for that. So that's kind of a lot of money. So that'll be finishing up that, making sure that we have all the clothing all set, and making sure that we have all of our toiletries all set. And then it'll start being road trip fun. So fun stuff for the road trip: movies, some new, you know, notepads, maybe some app cards, things like that, so that the kids are all set for that portion. We have luggage now. We have most of our Disney clothes. A lot of the kids will be able to wear some of the shorts and stuff that they have now. So we're really just trying to do this trip on a super, super, super tight budget. Our April trip, and yes, we could stay off property and save a ton of money right there, but for us, we like being in the Disney bubble. That's part of Disney for us. So, you know, just really doing things on a budget, not buying a ton of stuff, making sure that I have a lot of stuff given to them for Christmas that they, you know, will need to be for the trip. So cooling towels and fans and autograph books, and if they want the Magic Band, little bandits, things like that. So that's kind of how I'm also staying in like the Disney mood, the Disney bubble, making sure that I'm constantly doing something for our trip to keep us on that saving money, you know, because it's really easy to say, oh, I'm not going to pay money to Disney this week. I'm going to just go and spend $100 at Target, and that $100 can go to Disney. Do we really need more decor? No. Do my kids need any more clothing? No. So it's just a matter of, you know, spending smart and things like that. And you know, the kids have been really receptive to all these changes. They have said, we don't care how we do Disney, we just want to go to Disney. So it's cool to see that you know, they don't care about the slides. They don't care about the rooms. Yeah, it's cool to walk around, and that's what we kind of took from it, is they like walking around and looking at all the cool stuff at Art of Animation, but they could care less if they're sleeping in an Art of Animation room. So that's why we said Pop, even though we are really nervous to go to Pop, but it's like we are going to go to a park or the water parks every single day besides our arrival and departure day there. We won't really have much rest time. So that's why that makes it, you know, worth it. So that's kind of what we're doing for Disney. We are really excited. I have to make some, you know, changes. I'm really trying to drop about 25 pounds. I'm down about 6 of that 25 pounds before we go back. I've asked my mother for gift cards for the kids for Christmas. I've asked for some things that I need. So like, I need a new pair of Go Walks. I want those new Nike flip-flops. I would like the Princess Vans that they have out. I want a Princess Vans backpack as my park bag because I did not like the crossbody bag last time. You know, just being really smart. We are still doing perk and swag bucks to try to really save a little bit of money. You know, I will say that we are basically trying to put aside $125 a week in Disney gift cards. So let's say, for instance, for this month we earned $25 in perk, then I am only having to, you know, put $100 one week instead of $125 that week because I've taken that off. Let's say I make $50 in yard sale money. That's what I'm using that for. I'm babysitting this year, and I plan to use all of her money for my gas, and whatever is left over is going to go towards Disney money. You know, we're really doing good with our grocery budget. We've slashed our grocery budget. You know, the kids are at the age now where sports aren't as important to them. They don't want to play sports as much. So it's like they're saying, like, I would rather not and just go to Disney. Like, that's just what they enjoy. You know, I think school's getting a lot harder for them, so they realize that they have to put a lot of their effort into that, so they're okay with doing those things. So we still have, you know, quite a bit of time to go before our next Disney trip, but, you know, I've been planning, I've been looking at quick service options, you know, getting my budget ready and things like that. March was my stroller. That's when I need to reserve my stroller. So, you know, these little changes go a long way. They keep us in the Disney mood, and we are so ready to go back. Like, I just cannot wait. Just cannot wait. So that's it for this vlog. I think I covered it all. You know, some changes we might be making, what we're doing each month. Basically, you know, toiletries, some extra pins. We're going to buy some verified pins off of some, you know, Amazon, eBay, something like that, so that the kids can trade some more. Asking for gifts from family for things that we need for our trip, buying clothing, buying shoes, buying bathing suits, buying towels all ahead of time so that we are ready to go. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions for me, as always, please ask below. I try to answer them as often as I can. I thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys soon. Bye.